it's Ivy Slater, and you're listening to Her Success Story Podcast, a show where gutsy businesswomen share their success journey. Hello, it's Ivy Slater, and we're at another episode of Her Success Story. Welcome today. We're in the middle of a series that I'm referring to as the High Performance Series. I'm interviewing dynamic women who have a background in either sports, arts, or something that they have then translated pieces of that skill set into their careers. And we're actually delving into that area. It's been fascinating, and thank you for joining me here today. Today's guest is Luciane Serifovic. She brings it all in her philosophy. Luciane is the founder of Luxian, which is a real estate firm with experiences in high net worth, sports, and entertainment clients. Her mission in her business is opening the door to the world's most prized gems, luxury real estate. What I found fascinating about Luciane's background is 16 years ago, she walked into a real estate office in Manhattan and convinced the manager to give a young woman from Brazil who spoke little English and knew even less about New York City a chance. Since then, and for the past 16 years, she managed the sales of thousands of transactions, multi-million dollars of high-end New York City real estate, secured properties and investments for clients in nearly all regions of the world. She's coached agents, built the most successful real estate offices in the nation, and appeared in many speaking and media engagements. Remember the point of she had no English? In addition to that, and this is where we're going to look at Luciane's background a little bit, she's a fitness model, a bodybuilder. Luciane is also the author of a book called Handle It, Get It Together, and Finally Have It All. The book is an inspirational immigrant story with a view of how women can succeed at work and at home. Yep, mom as well. This dynamic woman, Luciane, thanks for joining me. I know you have a busy schedule, so I appreciate you showing up today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
So share a little bit about your background. A fitness model, a bodybuilder. I mean, you're magnificent, yes, and listeners, you're going to see her photos. You'll check out her LinkedIn. We'll give you all that information later on. So she is a magnificent woman, but where did that come from? Like, how do you aspire? How do you get into that?
Well, everyone have different goals. For me, I decided to get into fitness. It wasn't really by choice, it was really more of a necessity. And the reason for that was because I was managing at the time about 130 agents. And 130 real estate agents. I was the
So you managed 130 some odd real estate agents. How old were you? I have to ask. I mean, were you 12?
I did start managing agents when I was 21, I believe. At least it was 21. And as a matter of fact, I actually used to lie to people saying that I was 25, just because at the time I was managing people in their 60s. Some, I actually had two agents that were in their 70s. And I just felt that if I told them I was 21, that they just would never trust me. So I just lied that I was 25 until about
25 it is.
I was 25 for a long time. And
it's wild. We add years when we're younger, and then we hit certain ages and we try to take them away.
Absolutely. And then one day I was actually at an event, and one of my agents just went into my wallet and took and figured out that I wasn't, and started telling everybody. But the reason why I got into fitness was because when you're managing those many personalities, it's overwhelming. And I was immature still. I was this little girl carrying these big responsibilities. And I had to really put so much effort to make sure I did a good job. And I wasn't taking care of my health. I was not exercising, eating healthy. I wasn't drinking water. And part of that company that I worked for, their culture was, if you need help, go to your manager. So I always had a line outside of my door and even to use the restroom was difficult. And so it took a toll on my health. And I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition. And the doctor really scared me. He said, this thyroid condition can turn into cancer if you don't treat it properly. So he said, you have to do something. So he decided to give me medication. And he said, you're probably going to have to take this medication for the rest of your life. And he said, in addition to that, you have to do it because you're a mother and you have to be here for your children, but you will gain a lot of weight. And he said, although you gain a lot of weight, you still have to take this medication. So when he said that, being a Brazilian woman, I said, I don't want to gain weight. And I did everything I could to take care of my health. And that was kind of the beginning of it all. While I started working out with a trainer, I started going to the gym at night. I would go about 8 o'clock at night after seeing my kids for only about an hour. And I would go literally crying because I felt guilty. Because as a mom, you already feel guilty that you're working all day. But then to make it all worse, I would only see them for an hour, and then I would go to the gym because I had no choice. And then I realized, I said, you know what? There must be a better way. And then I decided to go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. So I would go about 5:30 with a personal trainer also to be able to get my health back. So I changed my diet, started exercising. In about 8 months, I used to go to the doctor every 3 months. In about 8 months, he said that I no longer had the thyroid. And he said it was very unusual. And he said, what did you do? Because most people taking this medication has to take it for the rest of their life. And I said, well, I just stopped taking things personal at work. So if I was having a real difficult day, I would just walk out. And I started exercising. So I remember when I first went on a treadmill and the Stairmaster, I couldn't do more than a minute running because I would run out of breath. I was dying. But I kept going. And then later on, I did 3 minutes, then 5 minutes. And then eventually, I can run for hours now. But it was all because I needed to get my health back.
So your health was the motivation, and clearly you succeeded in that, which is, love that piece of the story, in taking that responsibility for your own health and wellness and say, okay, so I can choose, or I could try, it might not be easy, and breaking through that barrier. So you've been in the real estate industry 16 years.
Yes. There's
some wild things going on now, some in a very, very positive wild listeners. So just so you know, I of course I have some insight into what's going on so it's very exciting to see what you're doing today in the real estate industry. So what transformation are you undertaking?
Yeah, so I was working with big brands for a long time, and I wanted to create something that hasn't been created before. So I'm the first virtual real estate company based out of New York that is woman-owned. And also I'm the first one who is using blockchain technology to record the real estate transactions. So everything is done online. And to add to that, if someone wants to purchase a home with cryptocurrency, I have the software that allows the person to purchase a property through cryptocurrency. So that's kind of the uniqueness of my company. What really sets me apart is that I primarily focus on helping high net worth individuals and sports and entertainment clients.
So where did I love niche markets in business? It's very, very smart when we identify truly who are our customers, who are our clients, and why they're our clients. So tell us a little bit about that. Why that, and how did you get connected to that world?
Well, interesting enough, fitness is what really opened that door for me. So I decided to because one way to continue to exercise and stay healthy was going to the gym. But after a while, it kind of gets boring, right? So then I started doing Spartan races. And then after I did actually I did a Tough Mudder, then I did a Spartan race. And then I was doing multiple Spartan races every year. And then I just did them all, the ones that are not athletes, the ones that you're not competing at a professional level. So then I said, okay, what's next? And a friend of mine, she's a professor. She said to me, oh, I'm doing a fitness show. And, would you like to do it? And then my aunt she's a personal trainer. She said, I'm doing it too. Do you want to do it? And I said, oh my goodness, how can I do that? I'm managing 70-year-olds. How can I tell them that I'm going to be in a bathing suit on stage? I'll lose all my credibility. But I felt that it was a great way to learn, to continue being healthy, and to really challenge myself, and also to have the accountability. So I signed up, and basically you have to completely learn to transform your body within like 12 weeks. And I did it for fun. And it was me, my aunt, her girlfriend, and we just did it. And it was amazing. We had a blast. And the first time I did it, I got third place out of 80 other girls who were 18-year-olds. And I was 34-year-old competing there. And I couldn't believe that I got third place. And I said, oh, this is kind of fun. I want to do it again. And I didn't tell anybody. I actually did it as a secret. Although I got third place, I didn't put it out into social media. I didn't tell anyone, again, because I was insecure and immature, and I thought that people would judge me. And there may be some judgment, to be honest. At this point, I don't care. But that's why I kept it as a secret. So then I did it again. So when I did a second time, then I got first place and became a pro card, which means you become a professional bodybuilder. So then I said, you know what? I can't keep holding this as a secret. So as I was doing these shows, you get to meet a lot of people. And then one celebrity in particular reached out to me at the time, and he was trying to actually hire me. And what I did instead, because I was going to some of these meetings, I said, my company is different, but how can I service that celebrity? That person already has all the money he needs. Anything. How can I possibly do something to help him? So I called a couple of advisors and friends that I respect and trust. I said, oh my God, I'm meeting this celebrity. How can I make sure I can do something to help him? And I realized that most people that are in that space, especially sports, they have a very short career.
They have a short career. That's true.
Very short career. Correct. They make a lot of money for a short period of time, and then they either retired or they get injured. And most of them, they get taken advantage of. And also, I realized that there are some that unfortunately lose everything. So once their career is over, if they don't do properly their marketing and they're, have sponsors and things like that, they could be broke. And I said, I don't want anyone who is my client to be in that space. So what I decided to do is to help them service all of their needs, starting with real estate. So my first transaction was with a baseball player, a professional baseball player, which I'm very grateful that when I put my mind into doing something, that my first transaction actually was in that space. I just said, oh my God, I can't believe I was actually able to do it. But
said from a woman who, in all honesty, said, oh, I'll try this with my aunt and her friend, and comes in third, where the average age is much younger than you. Okay. Yeah. So in that way, we're seeing you said again from the woman who showed up at a real estate office and said, I don't really speak much English. I'm new to New York. I don't know anything about the city. Can you hire me, please? And gets a job. So there's a pattern and repetition here in your ambition, in your perseverance, and in your confidence that you show up, and you also show up with the belief that it's here from what I'm seeing.
Yes. And what I also say is success leaves clues. So everything
repeat that. That's a beautiful, beautiful expression.
Yes.
Success leaves clues.
Yes.
Expand on that. I love that.
But most people don't look for those clues. They just try it out, or they'll try to reinvent the wheel. And most books that are super successful, someone else wrote it or wrote something similar that they got their inspiration, right? So I ran some of the most successful offices, but I did it because I looked to see what the other successful managers, what did they do to get to that point? And I dug and I dug and I dug to get that information. Same thing when I started to do the bodybuilding, although I was doing it for fun, I said, no one wants to, make a fool out of themselves on stage. So I said, okay, let me look to see what I need to learn. So I basically studied all the previous winners. What did their bikini look like? How did they pose? What was their diet like? What did they do to be able to get their body to that level? And someone else did it. So I just followed their track record. And it's fairly simple. It's just finding, the strategies and following through and having
so one
the
of the
discipline.
things, yes, I appreciate it, because a large part of it is having the discipline. And I think people who have a background in the sports and arts, and you acquire this discipline, you also usually are rather ambitious, right? You want to win, you want to succeed. And Luciane, what I'm hearing is you've applied the same methodology to, bodybuilding, being a fitness model, being working in real estate and building a real estate career. And now you're applying it to your newest venture. You want to share a little bit about what you're up to? What's new for you this week? So to speak. And listeners, just know, and I kid with this week, but this is Luciane's, her next big and bold step.
Yes. So what I'm doing now is helping high net worth and sports entertainment clients invest in real estate. But it typically starts there, right? But very often there's a lot of other components that their need. And essentially what I do is anticipate their need. So an example, when I helped that baseball player, they were relocating from another state. And I said, okay, I don't want them to be taken advantage of. So if they want to fly private, I want to get them the best price for them to fly private as they relocate with their family. So I have partnerships. So I went to my partnership in aviation to be able to help them relocate here in private. So I also have yachting and luxury car and property management. So essentially all of the luxury services that someone at that level would need, I have the partnerships to make sure they're not taken advantage of. And that's basically what I am building now, based out of New York. But because the last company I worked for, I was the director of international sales, I basically built relationships with companies from all over the world. And if they want to do the same thing in different countries, I have the relationships to support that.
That's fabulous. What do you see, what specifically do you see what the adventure of getting your health back, getting into bodybuilding, training, fitness, and becoming serious to the point of professional at that? How do you see that applied into your business world? What's your perspective on it?
Yes, I thought about this a lot. And what I realized is most people, when you're an athlete, especially this type of competitions, that you're doing this solo. At least it looks like you're solo, right? So you think a runner is achieving that alone, or a bodybuilder, they're stepping on stage and you think they've done that alone. And similar to successful businesses, you can't really do it alone. There's always other people that are behind the scenes who are helping you get to that level. And even as a bodybuilder, you don't think about it because you're just getting this person and this person. You're not thinking, but those people that surround you helps you get to where you are, or helps you get to where you want to be. So even as an example, in bodybuilding, I had a coach, I had a nutritional coach, I had a trainer, I had another coach that helped me. So I had a lot of help. And similarly, in business, you can't do it alone. You need the right people working with you. And you also need to know, based on each person, everyone has a different motivation. And that's what I've learned in the years as a manager, as a leader in different companies, is it's never going to be one size fits all, right? What motivates you and what motivates me is very different. So you always have to tap into what motivates people, so they can be excited about growing with you and fulfilling your vision. And that it's something that I think is very important in leadership, and also time management, because when you're an athlete and you still have a business and you still have a career and you have children, we all have the same 24 hours.
That is so true.
Right?
It's so true. We don't get more time. How do we manage the time more smarter?
Correct. So first, I think you need to find what do you truly want. And then once you decide what do you want, then you prioritize based on what you want. And to me at that time, I wanted to be healthy for my children. So that became my priority. So that needed to be the first thing in my schedule, and everything else worked around it. But when you have all these other things coming at you, it's hard. So I found a way to maximize every minute of my day. So an example, someone who is a bodybuilder may take 30 minutes making rice, right? I found a way to make rice in 3 minutes. So I had 27 extra minutes in my day that someone else won't have. And you can do that with everything in life. It's just that we're so used to the status quo and we don't think differently. It's just finding a way to just, okay, no, wait a minute. How can I do this better? How can I maximize this time? Where can I save time? Like TV, I don't watch TV. That's a waste of my time. You know, and finding things that are preventing you from achieving what you want. And
so, Luciane, in looking at women leaders today, women leaders building businesses, women leaders moving up in corporate, many are mothers or mothers to be at some point in life. In today's world, you know, we're all trying to take care of ourselves smarter, health and wellness as part of our, what tips do you have for the woman today that has so much on her plate, and we only do have, we have 24 hours and we are supposed to be sleeping well, by the way.
Yes.
What tips do you have for our listeners today?
I think you need to really, well, first know what you want, right? Because we all have different wants and needs. What do you really want? And then finding the support system. So sometimes it could be the smallest things you're wasting your time on. Like, I do not do laundry. Laundry is a waste of my time.
You're right. It's time consuming. Why?
It's time consuming. And then it's time that you should either be spending with your kids or doing something towards your goals. So you pay somebody to do it for you, or bring it to the cleaners, or bring it to the laundry places, or have them pick it up. There's services nowadays for everything, especially if you're based out of New York. We have everything in our hand, and it literally our fingertips. And if you can't afford it, there's still a way to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe you can have an arrangement with your spouse. Maybe your spouse will do it a few times a week. And, you know, it's just having the support around you. You know, I'm very grateful. I have an amazing husband that helped me also for me to go to the gym. Remembering when I used to go at 8 o'clock at night, guess who stayed with the kids? It was my husband. But if I didn't have him, who could have done that for me? And there's always someone that can help you.
So what I'm hearing is build a smart support team. Build a great support team around you. Number 2, prioritize what you truly need to do versus what can be delegated out. Base lesson in business building. Don't take on the minutia, right? And in scaling yourself, your careers, and your businesses, it gives you the financial ability to then pay for other things to get done. So your values are aligned with your family and your career and the people and things you love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so those are, and you know, those are primarily, I think the most important is just knowing what you want, prioritizing, getting the support system, and eliminating things that you shouldn't be doing. It really, if it's not something that's going to help you achieve your goal quicker, don't do it.
Don't do it. How can our listeners learn more about you, be in touch with you, follow you?
Well, I'm very active on Instagram and Facebook. So if you just put my first and last name, Luciane Serifovic, Luciane Serifovic. That's my handle on Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn. My company website is theluxian.com, and that's TheLuxian.com. Theluxian.com.
And listeners, don't panic. All this information, as well as Luciane's background, her book, is all in the show notes. Please join us by leaving a lovely message for Luciane for this episode. Let us know what else you want to hear, what the episodes are that's really touching you, so we can provide service to our listeners. That's really important to me. Thanks for joining us here today, Luciane. I look forward to seeing you again very soon, and I know we will. Listeners, thanks for joining us. Feel free to share her success story with your friends and other colleagues. Till next time.
To shine.